everybody, Simbastic this here again to talk to you about what I bought and what I watched today. And today I decided to head out to one of my local farmers market called Zern's Farmers Market. It's a place I don't normally hit up too often because if I don't put enough time in between my visits, I don't usually find anything new. They don't really restock stuff too often. Even though it is a farmers market, there are still a lot of people just selling junk. It is a little bit of a flea market as well. Unfortunately, unlike most flea markets where it's new people every week, you might have some of the same vendors here and there, but a lot of new vendors come around. Unfortunately, at Zern's, it's a lot of just the same vendors over and over and over again for years. And like I said, they don't restock very often. Every so often, they might get some new DVDs in or some new VHS or something like that in, but a lot of times, just the same crap over and over and over again. And once you pick through it, you're not going to find anything for a while. So I do like to space out my trips, usually maybe put a month or two in between my trips to Zern's to try and see if anybody actually gets anything new in. And today I actually did find some titles. I found some DVDs, some VHS tapes, I found a CED, and even a PVD. So let's take a look at everything I got. The first title I picked up was The Barefoot Contessa on CED. Now the guy was asking $2 for this, which in all honesty is a fair enough price. I mean, $2 for a CED, it's okay. I have nothing wrong paying $2 for it. But this isn't really a title that I was dying to have on CED. I really am only picking this up just for collecting purposes. CEDs, a lot of times, they might not even work. They're very, with the age and the fact that the inside, the actual disc inside, they do tend to go bad pretty easily. A lot of times these either won't work or they'll just pop and skip a lot while watching them. So I do really pick these up only for collecting purposes. So again, $2 was a fair enough price, but I figured I would ask the guy if he'd take $1 for it. If he said he would, then I'd buy it off him, otherwise I wouldn't. So, sure enough, asked the very, very, very mean-looking old man if he would take $1 for it. He said, no, $2. I said, well, never mind, thank you very much. The guy gets an attitude, he says, fine, give me the $1 for it. And he just flips out, rips $1 out of my hand, and very rude man. But nevertheless, I did get the Barefoot Contessa on CED for $1. The next stand I stopped at, I ended up picking up 3 titles for a total of $5. And the first title I picked up was this Nickelodeon compilation Video Now PVD disc. This comes with an episode of SpongeBob, Jimmy Neutron, and Chalk Zone. Love the PVD Video Now system. Just for the kind of obscurity of it. It's just such a weird sort of system. The video quality is very poor. It's really a weird system for kids to watch videos on. I mean, if the video quality was better conditioned and the screen was much larger on the Video Now players, I would say it was a pretty good idea and interesting product. But unfortunately, the screen tends to be really tiny. The picture quality is just wretched, so it's a very sort of weird system. But I do have it, and I do love collecting the PVD discs, so I had to pick it up. Then I picked up Reading Rainbow, Music, Music Everywhere. This comes with 2 episodes from Reading Rainbow. This is brand new, still factory sealed, and I love Reading Rainbow. I'm a huge fan of this show. This used to be one of my all-time favorite shows to watch when I was a kid. And even today, when I hear that great Reading Rainbow theme song start up, it gives me chills. It takes me back to my childhood. It really sets me in a great mood. And even today, it might be dated, it might seem like it's for kids, but I just still get a kick out of watching these great and classic episodes, so I definitely had to pick this one up. And the last title I picked up from the stand was Scooby-Doo, Curse of the Lake Monster. This I was actually pretty excited to come across, because this is a title that I just never find for cheap. Every time I see this, it is way too much, and I only ever see this in stores. I never come across this at flea markets, pawn shops, yard sales. I just never see this used. It's always in stores for way too much, so I've never been able to get it. And I really wanted to get this just for kind of collecting purposes, for completist reasons, because I always have to own every movie within a series. And I do really enjoy the first 2 live-action Scooby-Doo movies. They're great. Obviously, Scooby-Doo The Mystery Begins, which was the prequel movie, that wasn't very good, and I'm assuming this is maybe also a prequel movie, because I think this would, I'm assuming anyway, this would take place after The Mystery Begins, and I haven't seen this yet, but I'm sure it's probably not all that good. But for completist reasons, I definitely wanted to get it. I also kind of find it amusing it says Extended Edition, includes never before seen music sequences. I question that. I wonder if they either do one of 2 things. Either they just throw these music sequences into this to just make it extended, or they literally shot the movie with these extended scenes and just cut them out for whatever reason when they aired this one on TV, which would be kind of weird. So I don't really get that. It's not like you're watching a movie from years and years and years ago where something got cut because it just got cut, and then, nowadays we get the Blu-ray release or something where they add the extra scene in or something like that. It's not one of those types of movies. So I think this whole extended edition thing was done on purpose. It was probably planned all along. But anyway, definitely had to pick this one up, again, just for completeness reasons, to add it to the Scooby-Doo collection. And the last stand I stopped at, picked up 2 VHS tapes, both were 50 cents a piece, and the first one I got was Three Gorges, the Biggest Dam in the World. This year being a Discovery Channel documentary. I've said it once, I'll say it a million times, I love Discovery Channel, History Channel, Learning Channel documentaries. And nowadays, seeing as all those channels play are pretty much just reality TV, you don't really see much in the way of documentaries anymore on those channels. Anytime I come across any documentaries from any of those channels, I have to pick them up because I love them and I really do miss them. I wish those stations would stop with the reality TV and just play more great actual documentaries where you maybe actually learn something. I really wish they would start doing that again. So anytime I come across these, I had to pick it up. And for 50 cents, this was a great deal. And the last title I picked up today is probably the coolest thing I picked up, and that was Alvin and the Chipmunks, Rockin' with the Chipmunks, featuring Michael Jackson. How cool is that? But let me read the synopsis for you, because it gets better. Get ready to jam with the Chipmunks on some of the hottest tunes in rock. Join host Fresh Prince on a rockin' and rappin' fun fest of music from the 50s to the 90s. Alvin hooks up with Michael Jackson himself, dancing to Beat It like you've never seen before. Then it just talks about some other songs that are on here. That is awesome, and this I cannot wait to check out. I mean, I love Alvin and the Chipmunks, but then it being hosted by the Fresh Prince, that is so cool, and I cannot wait to see Alvin rocking out with MJ. That is going to be just awesome. So this is definitely something I had to pick up. For 50 cents, it was a steal. So that's it for I bought today. So now it's what I watch. And today I checked out Batman: The Dark Knight Returns Part 1. And this was just as fantastic as everybody's been saying. I loved this film. This has been the first DC animated movie I've seen in a very, very long time that I've actually really enjoyed. Recently, a lot of the DC animated movies, they've been okay, but really I would just call a lot of them mediocre. When DC animated movies first started coming out, a lot of them were really, really good. But then they just sort of started to dwindle and just became very mediocre, very bland. Just kind of felt like DC was just throwing them out there, just make a quick buck, and they just weren't all that good. They weren't as good as they used to be. This one makes up for that. This was brilliant. I love the idea of a very old Bruce Wayne who really shouldn't be crime fighting anymore. I mean, he hung up his cape years and years and years ago, and now that crime is just starting to become really rampant in Gotham and just really out of control, and he's getting fed up with it. He just decides to put the cape and cowl back on and go out and kick some more ass, even though he really shouldn't be because he's pretty old. But what I love is the fact that even though he is crazy old, he is still kicking major, major ass. I mean, he's taking it. He's getting the crap kicked out of him at times, but he's getting up and he's coming back for more. And it's just great to see Batman back, even though he's, again, a very old man at this point. I love the new Robin we get. I love that she's female. I did think they introduced her a little bit kind of oddly in this. It kind of felt like she just kind of popped in, the fact that Bruce didn't really try to say no. He kind of just said, yeah, okay, you're in, whatever. It did seem a little odd, but I guess he just kind of maybe needed that. You know, he hung up his cape, and now he's back, and maybe he just felt, well, I just need a Robin to complete who I am, to complete, you know, being Batman. I need my Robin. So I guess maybe he just kind of said, well, she'll do, and just took her. So I don't know, kind of weird. I love Alfred in this. He's constantly just making fun of Bruce in this. He's constantly saying things about how he's gonna die. I mean, he's not putting he's not sugarcoating anything. He's coming right out and telling Bruce, if you do this, you're gonna die. At one point he says, I'm still your beneficiary for your will, right? He says stuff like that. There's a part where you know, he's basically when he's questioning if Bruce should have taken on Robin, and he comes right out and says, well, remember what happened before about, you know, how Robin died before, and that's kind of why he gave up being Batman, and he swore to never take another Robin. but he does, and he comes right out and says it. He doesn't sugarcoat a damn thing, and I love that about Alfred in this movie. It's great. So, very good story, but what I like about it is the fact that they're kind of setting you up for part 2. This story was very good, very well told, extremely enjoyable, but after seeing the prequel, or they did a little trailer for the upcoming part 2. Once I saw that, I kind of realized this movie was just that very loud truck that passed. I do apologize. I do realize this movie really was just setting up for what is going to be just an amazingly good sequel. Part 2 is going to be fantastic. So, if I loved this movie so much, which is basically, again, just a setup movie, I can only imagine how fantastic Part 2 is going to be. And the fact that Joker is going to be in Part 2, I cannot wait to see that. I mean, the cliffhanger for this is brilliant. The whole time you see this, they keep going to this guy in this insane asylum who has green hair. The whole time I'm thinking, that's probably Joker. I'm pretty sure that's Joker. And they just keep kind of hinting that it might be. And then at the end, you realize that is Joker. And you know, oh crap, he's coming back in Part 2. That's going to be great. I had no idea Superman was going to be coming into Part 2 because I've never read the comic books. I know for those of you who've read these comic books, you know the story already, but I never have. So I had no idea he was even coming until I watched a little featurette on here, and they talked about the upcoming movie, and apparently Superman's coming into the story, which I hear is just great. So this was fantastic, and if you're a fan of Batman, if you're a fan of the DC animated movies, this is something you must have in your collection. It is fantastic. I swear you will absolutely love it. You'll want to watch it over and over again. And I have no doubt that Part 2 is going to be even better, so I cannot wait to get that. So that's it for what I bought when I watched today. Definitely got some great titles for some great prices today at my local farmer's market. And also watching Batman The Dark Knight Returns Part 1. It was brilliant. I loved it. I would highly, highly recommend it to any fans of DC animated movies or just Batman in general. It was fantastic, and I cannot wait to see Part 2. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned to see what I bought when I watch tomorrow. See ya.